So I think we need to wrap up Memphis with talking about another special place. What do you think? Beale Street?
Yeah. Who could forget Beale Street?
Hello there, Parapeeps, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. I am your host, Sean Donnelly.
I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
That's right. We have been doing a series about our trip in 2008 to Memphis, Tennessee, and this is going to wrap it up. The last one. Actually, this location was not in the database, but we tweaked it a little bit to add locations that just have like a historical value, since now we're doing historical and haunted on Our Haunted Travels, which we have been since the beginning, so I don't know why I said that. But this location we had to add because it's very historical and awesome. So Beale Street.
Yeah.
The entire street in Memphis, Tennessee. But before we get into that, if you're into the paranormal, history, forensic, and travel type videos,
be sure to hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell so you'll hear from us next time we post a new video.
So we've done videos about this trip to Memphis. We've covered the Orpheum Theater. That was a while ago. Mm-hmm. Okay. We've done the Lorraine Motel, also known as the National Civil Rights Museum. Okay. We've done Graceland, Sun Studio, and the Peabody Hotel just recently. Mm-hmm. And we're going to wrap it up with Beale Street.
There you go.
This was a pretty awesome trip. We didn't do a video, but we also went to the Gibson Guitar Factory.
I was going to say, we didn't just stop there.
Which isn't there anymore, but we have a souvenir.
Yes, we do.
If you guys know us and follow us or look at our blog, you'll know what I'm talking about. All right, so let's talk about Beale Street. Do you want to go over some of the history, and then
sure,
we'll talk about our experiences and show some pictures?
All right.
All right?
Sounds good.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, Beale Street, which was originally called Beale Avenue, was created in 1841 by an entrepreneur and developer named Robertson Topp. And he named it for a forgotten military hero from the Mexican-American War. Over the years, there have been lots of renovations and buildings that come in and out, but it primarily started with the West End, the ships along the Mississippi River and everything, bringing back and kind of allowing for development there. And then eventually became a musical area, right? So all the famous musicians of the blues era. But we had a major renovation back in the 1890s, and during that time period, they built the Orpheum Theater that you mentioned a few minutes ago. And this actually became like a really big cultural center, probably because they started doing things there at the Orpheum. But in any case, back in the early 1900s, it was filled with a lot of clubs and restaurants and shops. Kind of sounds like today.
Yeah.
But they were mainly owned by African Americans, and it was some of those influential blues individuals who came then and started to do some of that singing and really ended up getting the name Beale Street changed, and that becomes the name.
So let me just interrupt just a little bit for the younger crowd, speaking like
my
our
kids.
Students and kids. If you've seen the movie recently, the Elvis movie recently, mm-hmm. and Elvis went down and was hanging out with B.B. King and all those down in the blues and I can't, the names are missing, but the blues singer, that was Beale Street. So that's what we're talking about, is that street in Memphis.
Yeah.
See, I had to,
Oh, good.
I think the kids tune into me.
Do they?
They like to hear me go on.
Are you there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So as I was saying, back in the early 1900s, it was like 1909, when W.C. Handy wrote Mr. Crump, a campaign song, and then it was later renamed the Memphis Blues, really started to make them decide to change the name from Beale Avenue to Beale Street, because it was called Beale Street Blues. Yeah. So anyway, from that point on, as I said, we had a lot of the famous blues individuals. You had Louis Armstrong, Muddy Waters, you had B.B. King, you had Memphis Minnie, you had Rosco Gordon, Rufus Thomas, like all the famous blues musicians started to go there, and they started playing on Beale Street and really helped to develop that style, which is known as the Memphis Blues. B.B. King was actually known and billed as the Beale Street Blues Boy when he was younger, and even into the current time. I mean, B.B. King has a restaurant there, and B.B. King was always going and playing along Beale Street even into his late years. So he definitely was the Beale Street, I'd say, king.
Yeah.
But he was the Beale Street Blues Boy. Beale Street Blues Boy.
Say that 5 times.
Beale Street Blues
No,
Boy.
I'm kidding. It's a video.
Okay. All right. Well, in the 1960s, Beale Street kind of had a little bit of a downfall. They fell on hard times. A lot of the businesses closed. But 4th Street, so Main to 4th Street, ended up being declared National Historic Landmark May 23rd of 1966. And then December 15th of 1977, it became declared the home of the blues by an act of Congress, which is very cool. Mm-hmm. And despite that recognition, though, Beale Street was pretty much a ghost town at that point. No pun really intended there. But the surrounding neighborhood and a lot of the buildings were raised in the area, a number of them on Beale Street itself, and it was just kind of really running down. But over time, obviously, they've done more renovations, put more money back into Beale Street to make it back to, being something super special. And the first weekend in May, Beale Street Music Festival tends to still to this day bring many musical acts from different genres. Yeah, we definitely went there in October, November, or something like that. That's when my biology conference always is. Definitely not in May.
Yeah.
But to go there the first weekend in May and see all that would be really cool.
Okay, so as far as paranormal, like I said, this is part of the database that's just a historical location. But recently, as I was looking at this to make this video, there is some stuff along those buildings there. And actually, I believe that there might even be a ghost walk or lantern tour or something that you could take that right there from Beale Street and go up and down, which would be awesome, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. We haven't done it, so I can't talk about it, but there's probably, it would make sense if there's stuff going on, because I'm sure thousands upon millions of people have gone through there, and the energy and all that other stuff and that kind of thing.
Can you imagine all those legends? They just come back and say hi.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but our personal experiences, and we're going to show you some pictures here. We went to Beale Street a couple times over there because it wasn't that far from where we stayed.
Right.
It was like a walk down to there, Beale Street. So we went. One day we had lunch there. I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but I remember the food was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Oh, the food was amazing.
Beale Street, and we've seen this in Dallas. We haven't been to Nashville, but I'm sure they have a street there that's the same, where you could just walk down the street and go in and out of the different clubs. If you go before they start charging like a cover charge, like go during the day, and it's different musicians playing and different food, and there's people on our streets playing, and there's a park. Now, there's a park there. When we were there, we sat there for a little while and was listening to them. I'm not going to put it in this video, but if you connect to, like I did the Sun Studio, to the associated blog post, I'll put that video of some of the musicians playing. I just don't want a copyright issue. But I do have another clip just to kind of tell you the atmosphere on Beale Street. So watch this. This is pretty cool. So that just kind of tells you like the atmosphere. It's pretty awesome place to go. All right, so let's go over the pictures. You haven't saw these pictures in a long time.
A long time.
So we have a little bit of mixture of Beale Street plus like our travels in Memphis, like pictures you haven't seen yet is in here. But let's go ahead and go over these. All right, when we stayed in Memphis, our hotel was actually on Main Street, because we could walk right out of our hotel and catch one of these trolleys and go up and down. And the Orpheum Theater is on Main Street too, at the edge or at the end of Beale. So Beale and Main Street were perpendicular, not parallel, perpendicular. So we were able to take the trolley down. Okay. But these trolleys would go up and down Main Street, and this is how we got back and forth on these trolleys. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. They're very well taken care of, too.
Yeah, very well maintained trolleys. So there is
There's
that's
that
one shot of B.B. King's
building I was mentioning.
nightclub, restaurant. Yeah. And then there's a shot going down the street. All these cafes all along here.
And lots of the light up signs.
Yeah, so we went at night once and then went during the day another time. So some of these will get pretty dark. These neon signs are really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, is that where we ate Miss Polly's? I can't remember the name of where we ate.
Possibly.
I just know the food was good.
We ate several places along Beale Street, so...
We are walking
Hey,
down
that's
the street.
3 of you guys.
Now you see those the facades of those buildings on the right there? Those are buildings that were raised, but they kept like the front facade of them, where the whole building wasn't there. That's inside one of them. So, yeah. That one's blurry, but
Yeah, it shows you that whole idea of nightlife.
yeah, what it looks like
Yeah.
at night.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a Hard Rock. And they have historical signs along the way. Yeah, some of these are... Oh, you can see the
The
Peabody
Peabody
off in
sign.
the distance there. Yeah. There's
Oh, the Gibson
Gibson
Guitar
Factory, which isn't there anymore.
Yeah. Pretty sad that they left there.
So there's the Beale Street sign, which is in that music video. Walking in Memphis. That sign is in that video.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a daylight view of pretty much what we
Yeah.
showed you the nighttime.
So of course you could take a carriage ride around Memphis, which we didn't do. Would have been cool. We have done carriage rides, but
have.
not in Memphis. We didn't. So that's the video clip actually that'll be on the blog post of that group they're playing. They're pretty good. That's a cool shot. Even though that camera's old, but that's a cool shot right there. Oh boy. This is inside one of them. One of the nightclubs. We lucked out. Like, we were there during the day. We didn't have to pay the cover charges, but at night, if you went back, you had to pay cover charges. So there's one of the guitars from my heroes, Billy Gibson from ZZ Top. Billy Gibson. Gibbons. Gibson. Gibbons. Yeah,
You got your Gibson guitar on the fact.
yeah. Yep, and then there's B.B. King's Blues Club. And of course, there's a statue of Elvis.
Of course. It's Memphis.
That's right. So there we go. Beale Street.
Beale
Pretty
Street.
cool. That was one of my favorite trips, was Memphis.
Of course it was.
It really was. I always talk about that. Like, people say, well, what was your, people ask, what was your favorite one? And Memphis was, because not only did we go to the historical locations, we went, well, we knew afterwards that some of them were haunted, but just seeing that history, witnessing it, it was cool.
Okay. I thought it was going to be because you got a nice souvenir.
And I got a nice souvenir. Yeah. Well, I didn't want to bring that up. But anything else you would like to add to this video?
Well, I definitely, the food is amazing along there. Like, there's a
Phenomenal.
lot of different types of pulled porks and things like that, and they were just all amazing. And then just the atmosphere of being there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that I'm not into music, because I have a musical background, but like, I wasn't, like, when they said, oh, okay, it's going to be in Memphis, I'm like, oh, okay, great, it's going to be in Memphis. You were, like, thrilled. I was like, oh, okay, But when you go and you walk along Beale Street, there's just this like sense, like, I don't know, it's not paranormal or anything. It's just like, I'm walking here. Like, there's just this, I just can't describe it.
It's like you just enter like a time lapse. Like you're walking through history. You're walking through places where some of the greats started out and you know, sprung from there and became internationally known. You're at that origin. It was just an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like will take these trips or they'll leave comments and say, "Oh yeah, I was there," and blah blah. But think about what I just said. You're in historical places where things started out. That just pause and think about that. Read the historical placards. Go to the different things and you know, like the Lorraine Motel. I told the story when we did that video too. The Lorraine Motel. I didn't realize it was even there because that took place the year I was born. Okay, and I've seen pictures and all that with Martin Luther King and all that, and I didn't realize it. It didn't sink in until we were in the gift shop saying, "Okay, well, we got some time today. What are we going to do?" And we saw the postcard, and I'm like, "That's here." It clicked in. Well, let's go down there. You know, and
yeah, so that's a good point. You know, when you're in these towns and these cities and you don't know a lot about it, look at the
around,
stuff in the gift shops,
there.
And they have all those postcards from everywhere. Maybe there's some place that you're like,
Didn't realize.
My gosh, that's here.
And we miss so many places when we travel because we haven't done that. Now we do because we use road trippers and things like that, where we look, okay, we're going to be in that area. What's around?
Right.
What's historically? What can we go see? Back then, we were just, we're going to Memphis.
Yeah, like,
what can we do?
Go to my thing. We'll have some time at night, maybe at lunch.
Let's just take a moment and just look around where you're at and see, but be safe.
Yeah.
Okay, until next time.
Thanks for watching.
And happy hunting. Let us know if you like this video by hitting that thumbs up. Also, if you'd like to see more videos from us in the future, support our channel by hitting that subscribe button and dinging that bell so you get notified the next time there's a video from Panic D Videos.
Thanks for watching.
Happy hunting.